Big thing I've learned with you is to do process calls. You really want to have those phone calls and get as much information as you can. So when it gets to that final round, it's not too many surprises. More information you have, the better position you're in.
What's going on, Ari? Good to see you again.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
It's going well. So I think if people are watching this for the first time, they don't know who you are, but if you've seen the previous videos, they would recognize you. Ari is a fantastic recruiter, someone who works for himself, based out of New York, joined our community. And since we launched this in January, we've had so many close calls. But the reason why
Yeah.
I video is because Ari and I finally did an official deal together. I think it was like 140,000, 20% gross. We're looking at $28,000, which is not too shabby, breaking bread officially together, Ari, between me and you, and many more to come.
Yeah, man, it's solid. We've been so close so many times, so finally do it. It's pretty sweet.
Should have made this video a lot sooner. I'm happy we're able to make
Yeah,
this now. But real quick, dude, can you give a quick
sure.
intro to people who are new to you?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I was working at some recruiting agencies, and there's one of those things where I was finding the clients, I was finding the candidates, and then I just thought to myself, I could probably do this myself. So last January, I started my own agency called Light Recruit. Ended up connecting with Preston along the way. We've worked on several accounts together. We've been so close, like 300 times. And then last week at the end of Friday at like 11:56 p.m. for me, our first one together closed. So that's pretty much it's my life.
The crazy thing is, I got the email, I think it was like a little after 9 p.m. Pacific time. And this was midnight Friday. And Ari and I, we want to finish off that week, getting that email that the candidate signed. And then Friday, the whole day came and went. We're like, okay, I guess it's not going to happen. Got to wait again. And then I got that email when I was out on the town, and I'm like, I don't even know if Ari's awake. So I tried calling you, tried texting you, didn't even pick up. I'm like, he's probably asleep. And then you called me and I missed you, and I called you back, and I'm like, dude, I can't let you go into this weekend without knowing it's done. It's done.
Yeah, it's wild too because I really wanted it to happen. Some reason, like I didn't even want it on the weekend. I just wanted it at the end by the end of Friday. So I thought it was hilarious because I'm Eastern. So when I figured out, like 4 minutes before 12 that we closed it, it's pretty cool.
So I want to ask you, what are your whole thoughts of like splits and like how everything's going so far? Because some people actually say they don't believe in splits. It's like for the lazy recruiters, like you shouldn't do it. Like, what do you think? And how do you feel about everything?
Yeah, I mean that I'm really into splits. I mean, to me, first of all, a win is a win. Two splits equals one full, thing you do yourself. So you increase the volume a lot and you increase my whole thing is increasing the probability of closing. So, you have two good recruiters working on something, there's a much higher chance that's going to close. So I would rather have more wins than just be like, oh, I don't want to share this. So I'm all about splits.
That's the whole mentality. And also, a split is, even though it's 50% of something, it's still something, right? You can still
Right.
get a client, not fill it, and you get zero. But the idea here is that, we're not just going to do one placement together. Right? We're looking to do as many as we can. And it's a win-win for everybody.
Did you just start your own recruitment agency and are struggling getting your own clients? Are you thinking about starting your own agency but afraid to make the jump? Do you have your own clients but you're struggling to find the perfect candidates fast? Do you have a full-time job and want to do recruitment part-time to make more money on the side and have no idea how to? If you answered yes to any of these questions, please consider joining our private community. It is a trust-based community where recruiters around the world can support, collaborate, and work together on placements all around the year consistently. In this community, you will directly have access to the real open jobs of my team and of our members, and you will also have the chance to access trainings, events, giveaways, and much, much more. If you are part of this community, I communicate and work with you as if you were on my own team, and I'll do whatever I can to do a placement together with your client or candidate. So if you're struggling to get your own clients or candidates and you want a way you can make sure you can be busy all year round by having access to many more open roles, then this is something you need to look into. This is open to people around the world and is open for recruiters in every industry and experience levels, as we will always have a good number of variety of open jobs across sectors, markets, and industries. I'm really happy to say that within the first 30 days, we have already have a new member with minimal recruiting experience do his first placement that had a total fee of almost $30,000 US, and we are working hard to do many, many more this year. If you are interested and excited, there are only a limited number of spots open, so make sure you sign up quick at patreon.com/recruiterpreston. If you have any questions, please reach out to me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Discord. We can set up a time to chat. See you on the other side.
What's cool about you is that you came in even before the community was launched, and you're obviously part of it now. And you and I work almost and talk almost on a day-to-day basis here. But like the cool thing about our relationship is you don't just help with candidates, you also help with clients too. And that's something that I want to talk about. A lot of people come in and they're like, oh, I'm struggling getting my own clients. And it's great to have access to open jobs that I can work on. But the way that I see it is I want to be able to create something with you, Ari, where it's like two-way, right? Like I want to work on your roles as much as
Right.
mine so that we're both busy, not just one way. And so I think it's just been going really, really well. And you also had a client where I had a candidate and we had a final and unfortunately it didn't go our way. But like we had so many close calls, but going both sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to be honest, that's like a perfect example of, why I'm open to splits because I mean, even though that one didn't go through, for whatever reason, for that particular role, it's a very hard to fill role. I wasn't really finding anyone who was getting that close. And then you came, and even though it didn't come through, it was so close to closing that, yeah, like, next time I get a new deal, new client to work, I obviously, I just want to increase the probability of closing. So there's like two worlds. Like I don't share it and then it doesn't close, or I share it and there's a higher chance that it closes. So I'd rather just, be open to it.
For sure, man. And then just to give a little context, like my background's in tech and Ari's background's also in tech, but it just happens that like a lot of these close deals were also just not in tech, right? So like the deal that we just did was I think both of ours first therapist role. Right? I've never done therapist before in my life, but with that said, I've done more non-tech placements in the past 12 months. I've done in my entire career. Why? Well, I think a couple reasons. The tech market is very, very difficult. It's really tough to get clients. We're still targeting tech. And so naturally, we're targeting opportunities that are converting. And then my second reason is like, why not? Right. I realized, Ari, like if you and I go beyond tech, but we can still do the intake calls really well, even though we might have to learn a little bit about more about healthcare or things like that, as long as our intake calls are really well, we know crystal clear exactly what the decision makers want, and the salaries and fees still make sense. Like, why not? Right.
Yeah.
So now you and I are like doing placements beyond tech. I think it's the coolest thing ever. I totally agree that if you're working for yourself and you're starting, start with a niche. But like if you're joining in a community like ours and you want to get busier and you want to have more jobs to access and you have all the transparent information in front of you, it doesn't matter if it's a healthcare job or a finance job or a legal job. Like you can do all of those, right? Is that kind of how you're thinking and looking at it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, any type of role that we've worked together hasn't been too hard to, wrap my head around and really figure it out. And, you still do the same process you would with any other type of role. So, you really find the parameters, do those process calls, get that information. I feel like I'm having just as much success in non-engineering as I am with engineering.
That's awesome, man. And what are some like tips and advice you'd give to people? Because I think, we have a handful of other folks in the groups that are just rock stars, but you've been really consistent with like the speed and targeting, like a lot of it's really just on point. And so it's just been awesome, dude, working with you from day one. And I think like with partnerships, they only work if both sides work really well and they're good at their job. I think if one guy doesn't know what they're doing, it could just be a disaster. But like if two guys work fast and they get it, and the targeting is on point, and they have good relationship with the client, and the client's great and responsive, it can just move like butter, right?
Yeah.
But like, what would you say are some of maybe like a one or two advice you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, as far as speed, I mean, it's pretty, self-explanatory, just be a little bit faster. But
You're faster than me a lot of times.
yeah, I
And so
mean,
like,
I have trouble sitting still in general, so I guess it kind of works out with the recruiting. I move pretty fast, but yeah. And then I guess the other thing is kind of what I was saying before, as far as probability. Like you want to do everything you can to help the probability it'll close. So what are some things you can do? I mean, obviously, speed, you get more candidates, better parameters. Make sure the closer your candidate is to what they're looking for. Obviously, that's going to make your probability higher. When you speak with the candidate, really getting that information, really getting what they're looking for. Just basically anything you can do to increase the probability. Obviously, you're gonna have a higher chance of closing it. So I would say, just make sure if they're having some must-haves that they have that the company's looking for, make sure you get to those candidates because if you submit someone who's not as good, it'll feel good. It's like, hey, I sent this guy, sent this girl, but at the end of the day, if they're not up to their what they're looking for, there's a high chance it won't come through. So I just want to make sure that I send people that in my opinion would look great. Some of it's common sense. Like if it's on site, like, well, this person lives right by it. There's different things. So whatever you can do to increase the probability of it closing, you should.
Has there been anything that you've just learned a lot just by even working closely with me or just the groups and community in general?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing I've learned with you is to do process calls. I mean, most of the time, obviously, candidates are talking to them, a lot of times through LinkedIn or texting or whatever. But you really want to have those phone calls so you can get as much information as you can. So when it gets to that final round, it's not too many surprises. And basically, at the end of the day, more information you have, the better position you're in.
We don't want to do it. It's extra work. Not gonna lie, right? And
Right.
I think a lot of it's very easy just to send resumes and that's it. But to me, I'm like, if we're gonna put in all that work and finding someone good, let's do whatever we can to like maximize the chance of the candidate saying yes,
Yeah, like
right?
what if you called them and they got another offer that's, now they're wanting more comp because this other company offered a little bit more. So right there, if you didn't have that call, you wouldn't be able to, let that information go to the company. So like I said, it's all about increasing your probability of closing.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's where like the team work aspect comes from. Like folks are finding great candidates like yourself, you're sending it over to me, and then I work closely with you and we do whatever we can, like thinking outside the
Yeah.
box. And like I think that's where it gets really nerve-wracking and a little bit stressful. Like Ari and I has been in this situation multiple times where we had candidates like in limbo, decision making stage. Like unfortunately, we lost the candidate earlier last week that I thought was going to happen. And just we're like texting and calling each other late at night or in the mornings, be like, what can we do? Should we chill? Should we push? Should we be patient? And I'm a very impatient person. And I think
Yeah.
you as well. It's the hardest thing for us just to wait. But it's also cool to like feel like you're kind of like on the same team and we can just tell each other just to chill, you know,
Yeah.
hear a different perspective and then just to kind of see what happens, right? I think that's what I look forward to.
Yeah. At the end of the day, man, having teamwork, just be able to do something as a team, it's
Yeah.
just so much more enjoyable than just doing it by yourself. Being able to be like, look, we're in this position, what should we do? Compared to, just talking to myself. So yeah, I definitely agree with you.
How do you approach all the open roles? I think right now we have like over 50 plus, probably like a little over 30 individually different roles, but counting everything together, probably 50. Do you just like target on Monday, like this is what I want to do every week? Or like do you kind of make a game plan every single day? Like how do you structure your day to make sure you find the most success?
Yeah, well, one of the things first off is, when we first started working together, I was doing a little bit of just touching every single role just a little bit. And then I made the switch to having a few roles that I prioritize and spending more time on that and getting more candidates for each one. And I've been having more success for that. But as far as, yeah, a lot of times what I'll do at night is just email myself the next day, be like, hit these two for sure, whatever two roles I pick. And then, you'll have extra time too. And then the extra time I'll touch other roles as well, but I try and make a few my priority just so I can get, like I said, it's a probability. If you have, first of all, when the more you work an account, the more you know it. You don't have to look up the notes every time you have a call. You start memorizing it. It just becomes so much easier. You start being able to understand better, what type of candidates you're supposed to send. And then, you'll have more candidates in the pipeline. And yeah, that was the big change I made from just touching every little role to prioritizing a little bit. And then with my extra time, then I touch the other roles, but making sure I at least focus on like two or three that I go all in on.
Yeah, I think everybody starts there, but then that's not how placements are made, right? Like you're
Yeah.
you're still putting in that work, but you're kind of like throwing stuff against the wall, see what sticks type of thing, but might as well like, increase the probability a little bit more in your favor. That's how it's done.
Yeah. 100%.
Awesome, dude. So what's your goal this year?
I mean, I want to start doing, I mean, I want to do two placements a month. I'd be happy with, some months being one, some months being two, but two placements a month is what I want. And they're splits, whatever, but I just want to have two wins each month. And then maybe eventually I want to start having obviously like one win a week. But right now, I'm going for two a month. What about you?
Well, honestly, dude, like from what I'm seeing with you, with your quickness and consistency and speed and targeting, I mean, these are all the things that you need in staffing just to do in recruiting, just to do very, very well, right? And then just a little bit of luck, because I think if the
Right.
luck fell into our favor earlier, you and I probably would have done maybe two or three more additional deals this year alone,
Right. We were so close.
right?
And
Like
yeah.
we could have maybe gotten close to over 100 grand, 100 grand gross by now. If luck was
Yeah.
on our side. Like sometimes, and that honestly, like you can do the best process calls, You can do the best outreach, you can have the best client, but you just need a little bit of that luck, to kind of go either way. And the best months I've had, the best weeks, honestly, dude, like it was luck.
Yeah.
Like it could have gone from the best month of my life to the worst month of my life, And it just sometimes when it just all goes into your favor, when it rains, it pours, you could
I
do
think
it.
it's yeah, I think it's part of it. Some like yeah, like you were saying, like earlier, we had like five that were close, and they just happened to lean away from us for like very random reasons.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's some that I feel like are gonna like, the one recently maybe lean towards us. And I feel like some that are getting closer now are starting to lean towards, working out. So yeah, it goes both ways.
What are your favorite tools that you use again?
I use LinkedIn Recruiter, also use Rocket Reach for finding candidates. Those are the two main ones I use.
Keep it
That's it.
simple. That's
Yeah.
it. Don't have to overcomplicate things. Well, it'd be awesome. I'm really happy that you and I did our first one together. I can't wait until we hit 50K gross together and then 100K gross, and then let's freaking take it to the moon.
Yeah, I
And
can't wait to have one of these calls every 3 days. Be like, hey, going over each one. Yeah, that's the
for sure,
goal.
man. But
That's my
honestly,
goal. Every 3 days, I just want one of these calls.
but I think for the people that are watching this, I think, yeah, it's just a lot of fun. It's not just all about splits and money. Like I want to create a community, but also just create really cool friendships, dude. Like I didn't even know you existed 3, 4 months ago. And now like, through recruiting, it brought us together. We made real hard-earned money together. We're obviously gonna do a lot more of that this year together. And who knows, a lot of other things that we'll do in the future. But yeah, it's been awesome, dude. And I love your speed and responsiveness, no matter what times of the day. Sometimes I feel bad if I'm like pinging you late at night, but like, dude, like that's what you have to do in recruiting. You have to just be on and accessible, right? Like anything can happen. And so every time I find someone else who's okay with that, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like I respond like I get group chats. It's like, what can I respond to? I could either respond to the group chat that's, means nothing, or just, respond to Preston that's like actually interesting and it's like helping us close. Or I mean, I guess I could do both. But yeah, so I'm pretty responsive. I mean, a lot of recruiting to me is just in a way, it's like responding to text and stuff. It's like I'm just always if I get a message, I just reply. It's not like you have to technically a lot of times overthink a lot of stuff. If they call, be like, hey, I'm open to chatting. Just be like, hey, are you free tomorrow at 11 a.m.? You don't have to sit there for 15 minutes, thinking how to write that. So I'm definitely very responsive, definitely move fast. Yeah.
And keep it simple. You're right. Like you don't have to write paragraphs, be like, why you should talk to me. Just honestly talk to them like a human being,
Yeah.
you
It's a
know?
big thing. Yeah.
Well, is there for people who are watching and they might have questions or concerns about joining a splits or a community like ours, what would you say to them?
We just made a good amount of money. So there's evidence, there's money. And then, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're getting a constant flow of clients to work on. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely very valuable to join and, you do one deal and it pays for itself like 20 times. So yeah, I definitely highly recommend it. And, if they have any questions, they can always email me or anything. Happy
I
to
think
happy to chat.
for sure, for sure. Ari's always been super open for people reaching out to him and stuff like that. But you're right. I mean, we're in this together. We like to celebrate our milestones together. We're obviously like, working kind of partners, but also friends now. And just I can't wait to see what's in store here. And yeah, really honestly, really appreciate everything you've done, all the great work so far. And even though we're like not on the same team, it feels like we're on the same team because we have the same goal.
Yeah.
So we can just duplicate this like 100,000 times more. Let's
It's
do it,
gonna be
Ari.
awesome, man. Yeah.
We gotta help you make that dough, and then you gotta move out of New York City.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm like in Queens. I feel like I like halfway did. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you wanna reach out to Ari, guys, where can they find you?
So just shoot me an email. You can email me at REB at lightrecruit.com
Cool.
and hit me with all your questions. Or you can connect to me on LinkedIn. Use Rocket Reach and find my number. And you can text me.
That's
Do
a
whatever.
really cool, by the way. I really like Rocket Reach.
Rocket Reach, yeah, it's sweet because you can just take the LinkedIn profile, throw it in there, and either text, call.
One more thing, what are your hours? Do you have strict hours, or do you just kind of like working all the time?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I naturally, anyways, wake up at like 7, so I'm
Mhm.
usually working like 7:40 or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I kind of do have set hours. Like No, I usually will work till at least 5. And part of it's like, because all my friends are like corporate 9 to 5s, and I just feel weird, like, if I wasn't working while they're like, all at the office. And so, but you do have the flexibility if you have to do something during the day or whatever, I don't have to ask a manager. Yeah, I think I just work like normal hours. But then after that, like I said, I look at it like responding to texts and stuff. So if I get a message or an email or a text or a LinkedIn message, I just reply to it like anyone else who messaged me. And then sometimes when I'm just, chilling at home and, just I don't know what to do and I just maybe listen to like a podcast or watching like a TV show or whatever, then I'll just, send some candidate messages as well. But
Yeah, I'm like you. Like I don't have strict hours, but I work mainly full-time hours, but then like I also work a lot in the evenings if needed, but if I'm doing something like family or whatever,
right.
kind of turn off, but I really can't turn off completely here, you know?
I'm always thinking about something, so that's the
Yeah.
thing. I don't even need if Google got rid of Google Calendars, I still wouldn't miss any meetings. So my head's just constantly going all the time.
I love it, man. Well, look, recruiting is all consuming. So I know that just taking away 10 minutes, 15 minutes of your day is probably you taking away you talking to 300 candidates.
Oh
So
no.
I always
Yeah,
appreciate it, man. I can't wait to share the real funds to you so you know this is 100% real. And I can't wait to do this more in person. I might have to fly out there. You might have to fly out and we have to celebrate in person. But
I'm down, man. Yeah, it's been awesome just meeting you and having the same goals and finally, breaking some bread together. Just overall, it's been awesome. So
here's to more
thanks,
bread.
man,
Ari. Here's to more bread.
for sure.
All right, man. Thank you so much. And we'll keep in
Thanks,
touch.
man.